And who's James Redstripe? Oh God. Oh, there we're live. I thought there was something. I thought there was something else suddenly appeared, and I was like, "What the hell's that?"
Right, I'll just tweet out the link once this has come up, and then we're good to go.
Retweet.
No, that's canva.com. I don't care about
And
that.
who's James Redstripe? Oh God. Oh, there we're live. Who is James Redstripe? We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming. I think I know who it is.
We are live, so.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I've lost the link now. Bugger. It's all gone tits up.
I might have to bugger off for a phone call with work.
Okay. Just tell us and we'll pause it. The live stream will get it and the podcast won't.
You're just gonna have to fill in. A thumb twiddle.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky to have me because I'm feeling a bit shit.
Well, yeah, you're ill. You've been ill for like a week.
I know. It's been like it was like I felt like I felt like completely like shite on last week and was throwing up and diarrhea. And then I got better. And then I was like, great, I'll come home because I was in Dublin. So I'm now home in Kerry. I was like, great, I'll come home. And then of course my kids are ill. And I think they've given it to me, or I've given it to them and they've given it back to me. Like, or there's another virus going around. I don't know. There's either two viruses going around or there's something.
Yeah. Well, just take it easy. Oh, just a notification saying this is live. This is being live streamed. Yes, I know. I'm live streaming it. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I pressed that button.
Yeah. Are you recording, or should I just record off off Zoom?
Shall I?
If you don't,
no.
I can just record it off Zoom if you want.
No,
if that's easier. Okay.
It doesn't really bother me. Like, it's more of just I forgot to do it.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to start recording as well because I forgot last week and had to rip it off the live stream again. It's like the third time I've done that. But I wasn't even recording the Zoom, so I had to literally just record. I had to wait for the live stream to like finish premiering, and then I had to like illegally rip the audio off YouTube and then just put it in the podcast. But that's fine because it's our audio, so
you're not actually being illegal.
Yeah, and to be fair, I actually
what the hell is going? Audacity's playing up now.
Cool.
To
be fair, I actually downloaded it rather than ripping it, thinking about it. So there's definitely nothing
even
bad
if you
about
rip
that.
it, it's still your.
Yeah.
What does it? This. I think there's some probably legal issues or things going on there. I'm recording, by the way.
Cool.
There's pretty not some legal issues, but something strange in there of legal questions and what you can and can't do. Hello.
I was just checking to see if it was working.
Got a little bump.
Like it is. Little bump. I'm going to burp.
Nice.
Right.
Are you weird? Are you weird like me that you have to look at yourself in the camera?
No, I normally turn my screen off.
I have to see myself, and in the monitor as well as you. It just weirds me out that when I'm too small and I can't see myself.
No, I often turn it off. Sometimes I don't. It depends if cats are being naughty and I want to know if they're in shot or not. So sometimes
I did
see
them earlier.
Yeah.
Is that them there?
Leo's arse is right there.
Yeah, that's what I can see.
He's just out of shot.
No, he's there. He's there.
Oh, he's there now.
No, he was always there. His ass was always there. There's his head.
There we go. There he is. I've woken him up now. That was silly.
Yeah.
It was quite funny. I was on Grid Talk the other day and they were saying Max was effectively sitting on the wall in Australia. Oh God. No, go away. Go back up there. Go back up there. Good boy.
You woke it up the crack.
There we go. Cat's ass on the on YouTube. No, go back up there. Go back up there. Piss off. We don't want you here.
Who's looking after the cats during the wedding?
I'm sure they'll survive for like 6 hours. They'll be fine.
For 6 hours?
Well, to be fair, I'm going to be gone all day.
Yeah,
Mum
precisely.
and dad are going to come home and they're
Are they
going to
not
check on
staying
them.
the night?
No, but they've also got to come home between wedding breakfast and evening do.
This is still very boring for anyone else.
Yeah, it's fine. They have a diabetic cat that they have to inject with insulin twice a day. So they're going to do them at 5:30 in the morning and then come back and do them again at 5:30 in the evening and then go back to the wedding again. So
nice.
Hello, live YouTube audience. Yes, I am getting married in a couple of days. 2 days. Well, 2 full days. It's actually finally happening.
In another morning.
Oh, we actually sang that in the pub last night.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yep. So Leo's just going to be sat in the middle of shot.
Yeah. Well. Oh, well, that's fine. At least he's calm. Good boy. Be a good boy. Oh, yeah. Laura's already seen the cat.
And he's gone.
Oh no! I looked at him. That's a bad idea.
Don't look at the cat. I'm going onto YouTube to look at the comments. I'm guessing Laura's on YouTube.
Yeah, Laura's just sent 3 cat emojis.
Nice.
Go up there and stay up there. Good boy. Standing on the Monkeyseat logo. Right, should we start this podcast?
Oh wow, we were at the top. Why are we at the top with Peppa Pig? That's weird.
What, are we trending?
I doubt
you had your chance. You had your chance, mate. You can piss off now. Right, should we start this podcast?
You'll probably hear it yourself in a second. Hang on. I've got to mute this thing, otherwise I'll confuse myself.
You're a good boy and I love you, but you're bloody annoying.
There we go.
Here.
Oh no, I didn't mean to press that.
Sniff a Sharpie. There you go. Get him hooked on chemicals.
There we go.
Oh, no.
Get him hooked on ketamine.
Chemicals.
All right, I thought you said get him hooked on ketamine. I was like, what?
No. Right, let's do this.
Each their own. Oh, it's playing today.
Oh, big hit there for
Didn't want to work last week.
No. I was having tech issues.
And the Brits are lighting up this sprint race. Is that Gort going slowly? It is. That's Gort.
This we're going to update the George Russell thing in a minute.
Oh God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out.
Yeah, we should start with the news actually.
George Russell is the Formula 2 champion.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, we've got quite a bit of news this week.
Yeah, we don't just go too long on it, but we'll do it anyway.
What, the news that everyone's known about?
Welcome to the Monkeyseat, the aborted fastest lap attempt of podcasts. My name is Tom.
And I'm Carl, who's looking forward to all the upcoming marriages of convenience appearing this week.
Oh, okay. That's slightly currenty, I guess. We are a fully independent podcast hosted by 2 opinionated friends. I don't know whether to be offended by that or not. Hosted by 2 opinionated...
You should be, but Emily might be.
Yeah. We are a fully independent podcast hosted by 2 opinionated friends who like to put the world to rights.
And take the piss out of each other. I'm sorry, Emily. I just had to. You can get in touch with us by leaving us a 5-star review and giving us a shout out. We'll give you a shout out on the show. Or you can give us a shout out on your show. Or you can visit monkeyseatpod.com and give us your spare cash from £1 up to support and keep this train running. We will say literally anything you want. Oh, and here's a little 5-star review. Why have I just read all your lines out?
I have no idea. I was about to read yours.
There you go.
But there we go. I'll read yours. So you can also find us on all major podcasting platforms by searching for the Monkeyseat podcast. And just like James Red Stripe, who left us a 5-star review and said, really good chat from the lads. Really enjoyed it greatly. Keep it up. Thank you very much, James, Jamie, whatever your name is.
Yeah, pick a
name. Do you want to read my name? You want to read my name then?
And once again, we'll acknowledge all the great work from our partner charity Furballs Rescue, and who are continuing to do great work in Tom's local area and just rehoming abandoned cats. They haven't got as far as Ireland yet.
They want to take mine.
And needs funding far more than we do. So head to furballsrescue.org to see how that you can help.
Cool. Can I be me again now, or do you want to keep reading out my lines?
Well, there is no other lines apart from welcome to back bullshit banter chats, but that's
that is
pretty
true,
much for anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I'm back. I
Again.
still feel shit.
Yeah.
Still throwing up. This morning I was throwing up 3 or 4 times, but I haven't thrown up since 1 o'clock. So hopefully I should be fine.
That's good.
And I've lost my glasses.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's been one of those weeks. Actually, I lost them last week, but obviously I wasn't on last week, so I've lost my glasses. So I've now got these horrid glasses here, which are my spares, but they just make me look like a space cadet. They really do. I don't know what the hell. They're like far too big for me. They're awful. I mean, what the hell is going on? Anyway, you can't see that unless you're on YouTube. So go to YouTube, look at what I'm glasses. So they've gone to one side now. So luckily I'm short-sighted, so I can actually see what we've got on my screen, and it's not too bad. So Tom's obviously looking for the cat.
No, I made a terrible error. To distract one. I
made a boo-boo.
So we've to those of you who lived under a rock, I'm getting married in a couple of days, and I picked up the suits today, and I tried on my shoes earlier, and I pulled out, they fit fine, but I pulled out all the paper inside the shoes that you get, and it's just been sitting on the side here. And to distract one of the cats that was just being annoying, I've just thrown the bit of paper over there, and now said cat is ripping it to pieces, which is going to be heard on the feed. So.
I'm so nervous about my suit. I swear I've probably given you the wrong size, and it's going to be either 3 sizes too small or 10 sizes too big. Yeah,
quite possibly. It looks fine. It looks fine, but I haven't really got it out. But it doesn't. It's not like a comedy suit where you've asked for like really stupid sizes. So at least it should hopefully fit. And at least you're going to be there as well. Managed to make the stag do, and now you managed to make the wedding.
And the wife, and Killian is coming. So yeah,
excellent. And I've got his suit as well. And
nice. It's all good. Getting there. So anyway, let's stop talking about this marriage and let's talk about the new marriages of Formula One, which it's a really tenuous link, isn't it?
It is pretty tenuous, yeah. But it's bit of news. Oh, hang on, I've got a bumper for that. Hang on.
Breaking news.
I always forget to use that one.
That sounds like something out of our house.
It does a bit, doesn't it?
Don't know why. Anyway,
I've got to try and get an our house reference into my wedding somehow.
Somewhere in the speech, sure.
I've got to find somewhere to squeeze that in.
So laughing at Carl's baggy trousers or Killian's baggy trousers. There you go. I'm writing this script for you. What was I going to say? Yeah. So where do we start? Should we start in chronological order of what happened?
Yeah, sure. So Valtteri Bottas dropped a shock announcement that he was leaving Mercedes.
I mean, shocking.
For some reason, why would he want to leave Mercedes and to go to Alfa Romeo?
Was he pushed or did he jump?
Of course he was pushed. He was sacked months ago and they didn't announce it until he sorted out his contract. He's known for months. That's why he's been so utterly terrible in the last 3 races.
And why he then stuck the finger up at the fastest lap. He should have stuck it up higher. Anyway, and then Alpha Tauri, whatever I still don't know. I still to this day don't know.
Either way, still don't care. Yeah, I'm just calling them Tory.
They announced they're keeping the same lineup. I'm like, why the fuck are you keeping the same lineup?
Again, I was fine with it. I obviously they're not going to get rid of Gasly. Gasly's got nowhere else to go, and Tsunoda. It's a bit harsh to give him just 1 season. I think he deserves 2 seasons to at least give it a crack. So I thought it made perfect sense, to be honest.
I can't understand why they're hiring Yuki. I don't get it. He's useless. He's been far more useless than half the actual teams.
Is he useless or is just Gasly that good? It's difficult to say, really, because Latifi's shown some spells of like talent, but is it just that George is that good? So we don't know because Gasly's a race winner.
Yeah, but
obviously.
George isn't 8-10 places above him every race. No, he's not. Though. He's not. He's not. By the end results, okay, maybe on Saturdays, but by the end results, he's not 8 to 10 places above Latifi.
He's probably 5 or 6 minimum.
5 or 6, granted, but Tsunoda is 8 to 10 every week.
Yeah, but in that car, hang on. As well.
No, don't be like in that car because you've got the Ricardo Norris jump.
Yeah,
and everyone's just like, well, Ricardo's a bit shit this year, but like that jump is what 5 to 6 genuinely normally. Like,
but that Williams,
fine.
That Williams is.
I'm not talking about the Williams. I'm talking about Tauri, which is a great car.
Hear me out, right? So that Williams is probably the 2nd worst car on the grid. At a push, you could say it's the 8th. It's the 8th best car. It's the 7th worst car on the grid. The AlphaTauri is the 4th best car in the grid. So And that midfield fight is so close. The gap between 7th and 3rd is probably the same gap between 7th and 8th.
Okay,
So
where's Sonoda?
So what I'm saying is that if Gasly is at the front of that train and Tsunoda is at the back of that train, you're probably talking half a second. So that's why it's more places, because there's more cars in that difference. Whereas when you've got Ricciardo qualifying 4 places behind Norris with the same rough half a second distance, but because that McLaren is ahead of the rest of the field, he ends up qualifying sort of 7th or 8th. So I think he's probably doing a similar job to Ricciardo and a similar job to Latifi. So I don't think he's doing horrendous. He's showing.
I suppose it's
spells
Gasly's in
of
8th
speed.
and Sonoda's in 13th.
Yeah, he's showing spells of speed, but not so much recently. I think they just told him to calm down, and now he's got to find his feet. But I think, yeah, absolutely. If he has a bad start to next season, then there will be question marks, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him hoofed out for Albon if Albon doesn't get the Williams drive, because they don't want to get rid of him from their program, and Toto says no. So,
well, as Toto said no.
Well, I think if they release Albon from the Red Bull program, then they'll let him in there. I think they will, because like Red Bull are saying, why would Toto stop a young driver forging a career? It's like, well, because he's a Red Bull driver. I don't want him in a team that's got our engine, because he can just take the secrets back to Red Bull. And it's like, well, the thing is, you've got 4 cars on the grid. We've got 2. Why should we let one of your drivers into one of our customer cars?
Yeah.
So I can completely see his point. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Alex Albon. I want him to get a seat back in F1, but he needs out that Red Bull program.
This. I quite like, as much as I dissed him last year of him being shit. It'd be quite nice to have him back. Like he might have learned how wide his car is.
Yeah, and certainly have another crack at it in a different car that's easy to drive.
Yeah,
I'm going to shoot a cat in a minute.
Please don't. Like, otherwise I'll be taking that cat to Furballs.
God, there's just paper. There's paper all over the floor. I've got to sort this out.
Oh, his OCD's cut in. Brilliant. So now he's just left me, like, on my own. Jesus, my daughter's full on crying. So in our bed as well. Have you tidied it up now? Have you tidied it up?
I have, and they're not going to fight over it anymore because it's in the bin where it belongs. Right. Yes. So then, obviously, AlphaTauri revealed their drivers. Looks like Alex Albon might be getting that last Williams seat, although Latifi hasn't been officially confirmed.
Well, else?
And then finally, the news that nobody expected came completely out of the blue.
Who?
George Russell signing for Mercedes.
Who? Yeah. Like, I mean, that was out of the blue, wasn't it? Like, oh, what a shock.
Yeah, shocking.
I mean,
so George is in.
Like, seriously, I mean, I think it's a bad idea. But
why is it a bad idea?
In my opinion, I don't think, right. I think Bottas is a better second to Hamilton than George will be a second to Hamilton.
Right.
Hamilton's either got to stand down or they're racing 2-1s, and that's not going to work.
I guess it depends on how strong that car is next year, doesn't it? Because if the Mercedes come out strong and they've got the best car, then it's going to be a Hamilton-Rosberg situation where they're going to be fighting each other. If they're fighting to win a championship...
Which is impossible, because if they do that, then there's always a chance that Verstappen will just roll in.
Potentially, but if they've like the 2014, 15, 16 years where that car was by far the best car on the grid, it was always going to be Hamilton or Rosberg winning that championship. So in that scenario, he's going to get multiple race wins and potentially a world championship. George Russell, this is.
Oh, I don't think it's a bad idea from George Russell's point of view. I'm just not sure if it's a good idea from Mercedes' point of view.
If they come out and it's them and a couple of other teams fighting for wins, and there's a championship potentially on the line, but it's by no means a certainty, then they could, you're right, they could lose a championship that way. So it's ballsy.
Having a 1-2, a definitive 1-2, which, let's be honest, the Bottas.
He is, but I think the problem was in the past, Bottas has always been a great number 2. This year, in the end of last year, didn't matter end of last year because the championship was won. But this year, in the end of last year, he has not been a good number 2. He hasn't at all. He's just not been there to pick up the. I mean, look at the amount of times that Lewis hasn't won the race when he's been in a position to win the race. Who's been the guy in second place?
Yeah, not Bottas.
Yeah, and he hasn't won a race this year. Yet. I mean, we haven't had Russia yet, so he may well win a race, but yeah, it's just I just don't think he's doing a good enough job anymore. And I think that's ultimately why Mercedes have replaced him, because Russell can be closer to Hamilton.
Yeah.
They won't expect him to match Hamilton straight away. I think he probably will on occasion. I think the experience of Hamilton will come out over the course of a season. I think he'll beat him over the course of certainly the first season. The second season, I'm so looking forward to that, because obviously Hamilton signed a 2-year deal.
This is the whole thing with the next season is, it's all different cars and we're all going to be different. Who's to say Mercedes are not going to have a fall from grace like McLaren did, or Williams has, or anyone has with this new season? But also, who's to say that the Ferraris are suddenly going to become number one again? Who's to say that the McLaren's going to be number one again? It's all a bit of a...
It's all down to regulation interpretation. So there's a hell of a lot that we just don't know yet. So, but the smart money is to be with Mercedes and Red Bull and potentially Ferrari, and then with McLaren trying to fight with them. That's where the smart money is going to be.
But why is that the smart money when they've all got the same budget now? In theory.
Because they've got the experience, they got the infrastructure. There is a budget.
Have the experience, surely.
There is a budget. Exactly. That's why I put them up there.
No, really.
Sauber have never had a good backing, and they've the infrastructure is not there.
What about the Aston Martin, which is the Force India, which is the Scuderia?
Yeah, they're building up. They're building up, and I can see them being closer. I can't see them being a championship threat. They might pick up the odd win if the.
Who are they going to copy? Whose homework are they going to copy in this first year?
Well, this is the thing, and as well, it's they've got good engineers there, because the old Jordan team always used to make good cars, and a lot of the people are still there. So I can see them putting together a good car, definitely. But it's going to be difficult because they haven't got the driver lineup. As much as I love Sebastian Vettel now, and much as I don't like Lance Stroll and never have done, they're both mid-grid drivers now. Seb can pull out a box office result every now and then, but they're not A-line drivers. The best driver pairings on the grid at the moment, certainly this year. Hamilton Bottas is not a good driver lineup this year. Verstappen Perez, realistically, Perez has done not much better. In fact, he's probably done worse than Bottas. It's Sainz and Leclerc is for me the top driver lineup.
That's the dream. But then
and then you've got even like Alonso and Ocon.
But then Sainz will be gone in a couple of years' time when Schumacher comes in, because they're going to take that
potentially. But yeah, they won't chuck him out if they've got harmony and they're winning races and winning championships. They're not going to chuck Sainz out for Schumacher. They'll just keep him growing in Formula One and then sign him after like 5 years or something if they have to.
Yeah, there's enough time on him, isn't there? He's a young lad.
Yeah.
I think, I just don't quite know. And I don't think, is there, apart from Albon possibly coming back, is there anyone that's other rumours?
Yeah, there's Nick De Vries potentially. We mentioned it last week. It was my alter ego from Everything F1, Tom Downey. He said that Nick De Vries potentially Alfa Romeo, which would surprise me if they went for a full driver lineup change. It would energise the team. So
you think depends on Giovinazzi leaving, isn't it?
I'm not against them getting rid of Giovinazzi, but Nick De Vries, I think.
But why Nick De Vries in there? That seems a bit of a random one.
He's just become the first Dutchman to win
but it's another
a world championship
driver going into a Ferrari. I'm so confused about these. Who's driving what car?
Yeah, he'll just be gone from that program. He just won't be part of that Mercedes program anymore. But I'm not. It's not like Nick De Vries is this emerging, amazing young talent. He's 26 years old. He's like 9 months younger than Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a younger driver. So I'm not really fussed about Nick De Vries. It's fine if he gets his shot. Absolutely, that's fine. Good luck to him. But I don't particularly rate Calamari a lot, but I think I'd rather Calamari a lot than Nick De Vries. And then there's other drivers as well. Hulkenberg, I think he's done now. He's 2 years out of the sport. He had some great performances last year, but I don't think there's a space for him anymore now. And then we just wait. It just depends on what happens in Formula 2 this year. How does Schwartzman do? Are we going to see anyone else graduate from Formula 2? Because at the moment, it doesn't look like the space for any Formula 2 graduate this year, which would be a surprise given that it is a fairly strong field this year.
That'd be awkward, won't it? If there's no one,
Yeah,
no space. But I don't think there is a space this year.
I don't think there is. There's only there's the two Williams seats, which look like it's going to be Latifi and Albon, and then you've got the other Alfa Romeo seat, and that's aside from confirmation of the Aston Martin drives, that's all the seats left for next season.
Yeah, Which I mean, the Aston Martins will be the same. I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
I mean, I think Haas have confirmed they've got Schumacher and Mazepin next year. I
and
think
they got
have.
like a 5-year deal on Mazepin though.
Yeah, we'll get onto him later as well, I'm sure.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, should we get on to the race?
Yes, I mean that's the first talking point. As Mazepin dick moves.
Yeah, we will move on to that without a shadow of a doubt.
Go on then.
It's the 2-minute challenge.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. We'll do
Yeah,
that
this
then.
is. After a great pole lap, Max Verstappen rocketed away from Hamilton in second, pulling out well over a second on the first lap alone. His lead then stabilised after a few laps, but the statement of intent was made. Marzipan tried to kill Schumacher again, and Alonso nearly made contact with Ocon whilst defending his position as lead Alpine. Perez started at the back and made the race even harder for him by having a massive lock-up on hard tyres and swapping to mediums after only a handful of laps. With Perez out of the picture at the back, Bottas was the linchpin to Mercedes' strategy as he desperately tried to stay in touch with the leaders, but their metronomic pace was leaving him in a race of one. Hamilton boxed early, swapping to a two-stop and trying to undercut Max, but Max covered him with an early stop of his own. Crucially, though, Bottas now led the race, but Verstappen was in no mood to waste time and made short work of the soon-to-be Alfa Romeo driver. Vettel caused the only yellow of the race by doing a half spin and continuing, slowing Bottas down, moving him outside of Verstappen's pit window. So second stop time for Lewis, as Max surely would take the opportunity, but some bad luck with traffic saw that he, again, was close, but not close enough. Norris was the last man to stop, which saw him come out just behind his teammate and was quickly allowed past to chase the Alpines with a fast Perez closing behind. A third stop for Lewis is being discussed as a potential final run for a win, but on the softs, but in the end, they opted to settle to go for second and the fastest lap point. Something that was made imminently harder by Bottas stopping just before and then telling him not to drive fast on his shiny new rubber. He did indeed set the fastest lap despite backing off in the final sector under orders, and Lewis took the fastest lap point back on the final tour, making an additional stop. Alonso, meanwhile, completed a stunning drive to pass Sainz on the final lap, and Mercedes threw the kitchen sink at Red Bull. Although they were close, Max seemingly had the whole thing under control with a dominant performance. And I don't know where the sound effect is. Oh, there it is. I thought that was going to be about 2 minutes.
It was under.
Yeah, well under.
Just quickly going back onto that previous just quick chat, just from the chat board. Laura saying De Vries in the album, and why hasn't Haas got an American driver if they're an American?
There's no American drivers that are anywhere near Formula One level at the moment.
But also, American drivers don't seem to have the money either.
Yeah, because if you've got an American driver that wants to make it big in sports, in motorsport, why not go to an American championship? The Premier American Championship, you've got NASCAR, which is hugely popular, and IndyCar. That's where all the best drivers go, the American drivers. Because they can either go to Formula One and they can be, at best, in a back to mid-grid team and not really enhance their reputation, or they can go to IndyCar and look like superstars.
There you go, Laura. There you go. There's the answer.
Just look how good. Look at how Grosjean's like completely energized his career. Now he's gone to IndyCar.
I know he was a pundit, wasn't he, this week?
Was he? I don't know.
For the French.
No idea.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I saw him on the grid walk, which was hilarious this week with what's his name? Oh, Rosberg.
I didn't see any of the build up this week because I was in a rehearsal, so I wasn't able to see any of it. I watched it at 10 o'clock at night again.
It was just Rosberg just wandering around going, thumbs up, we good, thumbs up. Yeah, great. Thumbs up, yeah, we good, thumbs up. It's just like, enough with the thumbs up.
Cheers, Potter. Cheers, Rosberg even.
I was just like, oh my God, like, bring back Martin. But, I think it would have been fine. And he did ask a couple of questions and he just goes in, but he's like, oh, we're not allowed to talk to you. Yeah, sorry, we can't talk to you. So that's okay. Thumbs up? Yeah, thumbs up. I was like, oh dear.
I'm glad I missed it.
I actually watched it all. I watched most of it, weirdly. So let's talk about Mazepin. Well, yeah, I suppose in qualifying.
It's just, it's the qualifying and in the race. And he's actually caused damage to his teammate's car in this race as well, pushing him into a pit bollard. Yay. But they reckon that his reputation is now irreparably damaged with Schumacher. Apparently, the team
they're not
told
friends.
Schumacher that he could overtake Mazepin on the warm-up lap because he wanted to do a faster lap to prepare the tyres. So they allowed him to pass him, but didn't tell Mazepin. So then Mazepin was like, "Why are you doing that?" And then just basically,
Yeah, did you see like the post interview?
oh yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, I'm meant to be number 1 this week, so I don't know what he's doing. Like, does it fuck off?
yeah.
Like,
No.
let's be honest. You're there because you're paid to be in there. He's there because he's actually good. Okay, he's got a name. I'm not denying that fact, but he's definitely better than you, and he's German, and
Yeah.
he's brought a lot more money in some ways than you. He has. So
He certainly brought a lot of profile to the team.
yeah. So
But unfortunately, the team is just a bit of a laughing stock, so they can't make the best of it.
I feel so sorry for Schumacher.
Yeah, I want him to have a decent car next year. I want Haas to make a big step next year, but I just don't think they will. I can't see any scenario where Haas make a big step
No.
forward.
I don't know what. Like, can you imagine Mazepin suddenly becomes a world champion because he's got an amazing car for some unknown reason? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, the thing is, you can see like potentially he can buy his way into a big team or into a team that gets the regulations right and gets one season where he's the dominant, he's in the dominant car, and he's got a teammate that isn't as good as him. He could end up winning a world championship, which would just be shocking, really.
But he's just a knob. I try and like him because
I don't.
I think I try and like him because I think grand. He's you can't hold everyone by their faults.
No.
Their younger faults and their stupidity.
And it does annoy me
He
when
doesn't
people
fucking
just
help
like
the situation, does he?
Yeah, it does annoy me when people just bag on him like constantly because I'm just like, look, it does annoy me, but he does deserve it. But I'm just like, at some point, I'm just like, just give it a rest. You know, he's in the sport. Let's just deal with it. You know, let's just judge him on what he does on track. And if he drives like an arse, then we will treat him like an arse. Yeah. But don't like, he drops a wheel in the gravel and then people are like, oh, he's at it again. It's like, Hamilton or Verstappen were doing it 5 minutes earlier and no one's batted an eyelid, but because it's Mazepin, because then that gives him an argument and a reason. Let's judge him on what he does. And because otherwise, if people are always getting on his back, when he does do something wrong, they're just going to say, oh, well, you're just saying it because it's Mazepin. No, they're judging on what he does, because give him enough rope to hang himself with, and believe me, he will hang himself.
Yeah.
Yes, he frustrates the hell out of me. But there we go. Yeah, that was, again, it's your teammate, and then you're causing damage to his car. You're doing moves that eventually is going to hurt someone as well. It's just not on.
No.
But
Anyway, I'm bored of talking about him.
Yeah, but I just want to say, I just couldn't believe that he didn't get a penalty for that, or that nobody got a penalty for that.
I mean, what's the penalty going to do? Let's be honest.
Yeah, but it should be license points for the driving standards. But then just to say, oh, well, there's too many cars. So, like, if everyone went there and just rammed everyone off the track, you just wouldn't give any penalties. Every driver involved in that incident should have at least got a warning. But in the end, they said no further action. I mean, even a warning, that's just the very least you can do. But that would have been better than what they did. But hey ho. Someone else who annoyed me this weekend, Perez.
Yeah. Perez,
just like what?
Go on.
Well,
why does he annoy you?
Well, firstly, he. I mean, I know it is partly the team's fault that he didn't make it through Q1, and that's fair enough. But equally, he's got the fastest car on the track. Why was he in a position to be put out at the end of Q1 in the first place? The track evolution wasn't so great that if he'd have done an average lap, that he wouldn't have got through.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why he ended up so far back.
It's just he wasn't able to set a lap because he was the last car out of the pits, and then he didn't get round in time.
Yeah, but he did point. Yeah, he did measure a lap.
Yeah, he put a lap in, and then that lap wasn't quick enough. That's what I mean. So that annoyed me.
Everyone kept going on about track evolution, which seems like a mythical thing to me.
No, it is. You could see it. It was so obvious.
You can see it, but I don't understand it.
Why? You're putting rubber down. You're putting rubber down on track.
Oh, I've lost you. I've lost you.
Oh, I'm fine. I've got you.
Back. There you back.
I had you the whole time.
I can't understand as to how. Yeah, you're putting rubber down on the track. I get that, but you've also had W series or F2 or F3. Every
Yeah,
time.
but it's the Formula One
that-
rubber. It's laying down I mean, there was not an awful lot of track action. Keep in mind that this track hasn't been used for a very long time, and it's all a lot of it's new
Well, it's
tarmac.
news as well. Yeah.
And they've they're going around and they're putting Formula One rubber down on there, which is much grippier and much stickier. So that it just creates that change in surface evolution, and then it just creates a better environment for the tires to thrive, because they're so on a knife edge, these tires.
Yeah.
And as a result, if you stick to the racing line, when you're just constantly going around with fast laps, it's going to evolve. And it was the track evolution was high because there were so many red flags in the first few sessions. There was not a lot of track action going into that, and then that's what caused it, ramping up at the end of qualifying.
Yeah.
And it was high, but it shouldn't have been high enough that Perez putting in an average lap in that car wouldn't have got him out of Q1. I mean, you look at who would be to go out in Q1. All you've got to do is be faster than one Alfa Romeo, or one Williams, or one Haas. That's all you've got to do. And it didn't. Yeah, and I was really annoyed actually, because I was gonna place a bet on Perez to go out in Q1, but I didn't. But there we go.
Should have. Go on.
Yeah.
Apart from that.
So then he's starting 17th, and Red Bull do the right thing, and they give him a grid penalty to start from the pit lane so he can get a new engine into that pool, because obviously he needs to take a new engine because of his crash in Hungary. So that's fine. So do that, and then he's got this aggressive strategy on hard tires, so go as long as possible and then switch to softs at the end and just overtake everyone. And then 7 laps in, he's trying to overtake Mazepin. Yeah. He just locks up and just completely wrecks his
makes the poles
massive. Then he's the first person to make a pit stop on tires that could have theoretically done pretty much the entire race.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
which
then
he's normally quite good at saving tires.
Then on mediums, he's got to make the mediums last forever and then switch to the softs at the end. It's just like, oh my God, what are you playing at? So, yeah.
Oh,
yes, that was frustrating. The thing is,
just a bit amateur.
One other thing. Sorry, I am going to.
God, you are on a rant.
I know, I am. He got driver of the day.
This is the thing about driver of the day.
He ballsed up qualifying, and then he ballsed up his first stint, and then he recovered back to 8th or something was his final position, I think it was. Yeah,
Laura
8th
called
position.
it, though. Laura was like, Perez is going to get driver of the day. I don't think it is, but Perez is going to get it.
Yeah, so 8th place, right? He was in the fight for 5th.
Yeah.
He could have come back and come in 5th in that race and potentially pushed Gasly for 4th. Yeah. So he could have been exactly where he needed to be to maximise the position for the team. He's got 8th place. Whoop-de freaking do. The best car finished 8th. Yeah. So that's kind of my Perez rant over now, but it annoyed me. There's a lot of things that annoyed me about this race, to be honest. It was a cracking race, I thought. I mean,
Laura's saying she would have voted for him. I want to know why.
I'll tell you why, and I mean in the nicest possible way, because he was the most exciting driver, and a lot of people vote for what they see as, I saw the most of him and what I saw him do was good. But for me, you've got to look at the reason why he was there. Yeah. The reason why he was there was from his own doing. So how could he possibly be driver of the day?
Yeah, it's not like he's done back to front like he did the other time.
But for him to get, it doesn't it's not like, I don't say this very often, but the amount of times that Max Verstappen used to get driver of the day, he doesn't seem to get it so much anymore. And given this race where Mercedes literally picked up the kitchen sink and threw it at his car to try and stop him winning this race, and everything that they did, he had an answer for. It was a stunning performance from Max Verstappen, absolutely phenomenal. And I thought he's going to get driver of the day by a country mile, because they voted for him when he clearly isn't driver of the day.
But then this is the thing with the driver of the day, is that it's whoever's number one doesn't get it. Whoever's number one.
Yeah, rarely. Unless they've made an overtake for the win on the last lap or something like that.
Yeah, but whoever's at the top of the championship and the top of the constructors.
It's popularity and excitement. That's how people vote for driver of the day.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 really don't normally get it unless they do something like that. If Max started at the back and came up 10 places, he would have got it.
But guarantee, right? If you had a driver that starts where they should be starting, sort of 2nd, 3rd, or 4th or something, has a great run, lucks into a win because someone retired, but drove an absolutely perfect race, not particularly exciting, but had loads of pace. And then that person in another race, they did slower lap times, didn't race anywhere near as well, but made a mistake on the first lap and then recovered back to the position where they started from, they would probably get driver of the day ahead of the person that raced quicker and gained places.
Yeah.
That's my issue with the driver of the day thing. It's just
It's a popularity contest.
They used to do it like Martin Brundle would award driver of the day. He would say, "Oh, so I'm going to give driver of the day to so and so," and there would be a reason for it. And then when like they realised that this could be a way of getting money, that they put it out to the fans, which is fine.
Oh, do you have to pay to vote?
Yeah. It's just like it's just like if you're voting on X Factor or something.
Never knew that.
You got. I've never voted either, but it annoys me. It annoys me. I see. Laura said, "Yeah, he's finished 8th when he started 20th." Yeah. That's exactly my point. He started 20th. Yeah, exactly my point. In the fastest car,
even if he didn't change his engine and get a penalty point, he still would have only started.
And my problem is as well.
16th was it?
So Max Verstappen, his race time was an hour and 30 minutes and 5 seconds, and then was it? Bottas was third, was 56 seconds back. So basically, and then Perez was lapped. So yes, he's come through the field, but he was in the quickest car. He should have done a whole extra lap and then some. That's how off the pace he was. It's just because his car was the best car that he was able to recover to 8th. He was in the fight for 4th place in that race. He should have been 4th place. Potentially 5th, you'd say, okay, yeah, that's good because Gasly was in a race on his own. He should have been up there fighting with the Ferraris. But because of his mistake in the first stint, he's then made his life even harder. So I can't see how you can possibly give him driver of the day. Do you know who would get driver of the day for me ahead of Perez?
No, because we're not talking about that yet until we get to the driver of the day section.
But I text someone about it. Fernando Alonso. Guess who I text about it?
Bez.
Yeah. He would get it over Perez for me. He had a stunning race.
Oh yeah,
he had a stunning race.
He jumped out quite a few at the beginning.
He completely destroyed his teammate, and
he loves starts. He's so good at just
and then he passed
in the field.
And then he passed Carlos Sainz on the last lap, which is that Ferrari was a much better car than the Alpine, and yet Fernando with strategy and racecraft has beaten Carlos Sainz, which is brilliant.
But me and Laura were talking about him the other day. And actually, we're like, Alonso's actually quite a good driver. And, And we were talking about him staying at Alpine, and we were like, well, why wouldn't you keep him on? He's a great driver. He's old hands, but he doesn't feel like Raikkonen. He doesn't feel like he's just holding up a space.
No, he's much better than Raikkonen.
I did think he would be. I did think originally when we heard about him coming in this season that he would be literally holding up a space and he wouldn't be any good, and but actually he's still a great driver, and he's still got great racecraft and great knowledge of tracks and things, and I mean he just drove that track so well. I have to agree, it was an amazing drive. So what about Bottas then? Like, obviously he's gone from Mercedes. Should have he done that fastest lap?
I mean, from a team perspective,
fuck you.
From a team perspective, no, he definitely shouldn't have done it. But from a Bottas perspective,
fuck the team at that point.
From a Bottas perspective,
fuck the team. You're off to Ferrari, mate. Fuck the team. You know what I mean, Alfa Romeo. But you're off to Ferrari engine. You don't need the Mercedes anymore. Fuck the team. Fuck the Wolf, man.
So I definitely click in the explicit box on this week's podcast.
Why?
I have to click the explicit box if you swear. That's why I try and stop you, because then I have to tick that box, and then it limits our audience. But fine.
15-year-olds watching this, you're grand. Or 13-year-olds. No.
I don't know where Bottas. I don't know where his pace was, but it's such a Bottas thing to do to feign doing the fastest lap and then to fuck up and actually do the fastest lap. It did make me laugh. I did chuckle when I saw that, and I was like, part of me kind of wants Hamilton to not get the fastest lap now just to see the fallout.
Yeah. Could you imagine? But the fact that he had to make Hamilton come in and put the softs on.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, but the thing is as well, can you imagine what happened there? If we'd have had another, I know it's a long shot, but if we'd have had another Silverstone situation or 70th
blowout.
anniversary Grand Prix, and then Verstappen then had a tyre blowout or something, because his tyres were quite old, you know, he'd put a lot of pressure on them. So he then gets a tyre blowout and he finishes the race on 3 wheels. And Hamilton's like, yeah, we're there with my lovely new tyres. It's like, yeah, but you could have won that race by 15 seconds if you hadn't stopped.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the whole thing. I mean, this is what the whole fastest lap thing does. It does energize the race in that sense. But when you've got cars that are so much faster than everyone else, it does kind of like, I think it spoils it a little bit.
Isn't it?
It just becomes a bit of a farce, because then you look at the race timings and you think, well, Max Verstappen beat Lewis Hamilton by 21 seconds and Valtteri Bottas was another 36 seconds back. They both took an extra pit stop.
Yeah.
It's not really, if you look at that without the pit stop, Hamilton was right on Verstappen. Because it's 22-second delta for that. Obviously, he had quicker tyres at the end, and he was going for the fastest lap, so of course he was going to go quicker than Verstappen. But still, I mean, I was dead impressed with how close Hamilton managed to stay to Verstappen. But Verstappen,
why are you impressed by this?
I'm impressed with it because he was so close to him for the entire race. Yet that Red Bull was clearly the fastest car. But don't get me wrong, Verstappen he just soaked it up, and he had an answer.
I'm not
for
sure
everything.
it was the fastest car.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Of course it was.
I don't think it was. I don't think that car was the fastest car.
How? What evidence is it not the fastest car?
The fact that you have Thingy Bob, so Perez so far back and not actually doing, and the times aren't that great of Perez. Like, and
but what time?
And his car, he knew that track better than anyone. He's driven that track more times than anyone else.
Well, Verstappen, yeah, he's driven it. He's driven it in a 4-year-old car 2 years ago for 5 laps and set a lap time
more than anyone
10
else.
seconds low. No, they've got simulations that would have been far more useful for that. Every team would have been simulating.
What I'm saying is that it's not Hamilton's car. Verstappen's car. What I'm saying is Verstappen was the better driver this time, and it's nothing to do with the car.
No, that car was phenomenal this time round. That Red Bull package.
How is it the car? What proof have you got it was the car?
You just look at the lap times.
Why is that not the driver?
Right.
Why is that not the driver?
Right. Okay. I'll tell you why. Because if you look at Verstappen's qualifying laps, he made 2 errors on track, which lost him time, and his DRS didn't open on the final straight. Yet he still set the fastest time when Hamilton's lap was not perfect, but it was much tidier.
Hang on. By that reckoning, what's his name? Latifi's and Russell's car were phenomenal cars.
How do you mean?
Because they managed to get around the track super fast. They ended up at points in 4th and 6th or wherever they were until they crashed out because they're idiots. Yeah. They got into third. They got into the Q3 in theory.
What?
They would have got into Q3 had they not crashed.
Are we still talking Zandvoort here?
Yes.
They would not have got into Q3.
Yeah, they would.
What, Russell and Latifi?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, they would not have done. Russell was in 11th, and then him and Latifi crashing meant that nobody else could set times when the track was evolving, and then they would have fallen out the top. They wouldn't have got through into Q3. No way.
Yeah, I reckon they would have got into Q3. He was in 11th. He was in 11th. He was doing anyway. Either way. Are you saying that car was better than whoever came in 12th? I can't remember in qualifying.
No, what I'm saying is that Max Verstappen in a car,
that was the driver.
Max Verstappen in a car, when he's making mistakes, can still go faster than a Mercedes that isn't making mistakes. That is the car being better. That package overall was the best package
that driver,
that track.
If you put Verstappen into the Williams car, he would have still been quicker than Russell in that Williams car. Okay,
maybe, or you certainly would have been close.
He's a better driver.
You say the same. You put Hamilton in the Williams, and he's
with the car. I don't think it was the car. I think it was generally the driver this time, because I think if you put Hamilton into Perez's Red Bull, I still think Hamilton would be behind.
He would certainly be a lot higher up, and that's down to Perez.
But no, if you put Hamilton into Perez's car, he would, which is in theory the same car. Let's be honest, no matter which setup you go for, but in theory the same car, he would have been far behind Verstappen.
Perez has never been a great qualifier. We know this. He doesn't optimize the 1 lap pace.
Don't worry about Perez. Don't worry about Perez.
No. In that car, he can then overtake most of the field despite ruining a set of tyres and having to take an extra pit stop, he can still overtake most of that field on the way back to an amazing recovery to 8th place. Whoop de freaking do. But that was the quickest car, even in Perez's hands. He was putting in lap times that were up there. Apart from the only people who were slow was Hamilton and Verstappen.
And Bottas, he wasn't that great. He didn't have that great.
He was no quicker than Bottas. It's just because he started so far back and he had to get through traffic.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not the car. It's not the car.
No, it is, because he was going quicker than Bottas.
Who? Perez?
Perez, when he was in clear air, was putting in quicker lap times than Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, because Bottas is a shitter driver than Perez.
Because the Red Bull's a better car than the Mercedes out of the package. Okay, right. I'll compromise this. Right, the Max Verstappen Red Bull package that weekend was quicker than the Lewis Hamilton Mercedes package.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, we can compromise and say that. We can compromise and say that. But what I'm saying is the fact that he was
no, you've said it now.
So dominant.
We've agreed.
And yet he managed to stay with him. But I do think that a lot of the time Max was just reacting to Hamilton. And then just because I mean, back in 2010, there was a situation where Alonso was fighting Webber for the championship, and Vettel was quite far back, and then Alonso made a pit stop to cover Webber, like Verstappen did to cover Hamilton, and as a result, then Vettel went off and won the race and the championship because he couldn't get past.
Lesson with Tom Horrocks.
So I'm just saying, it just reminded me of that. Like Verstappen was just covering Hamilton. He didn't really care about the win. But then when he came up behind Bottas, he just breezed past him like he wasn't there. I mean, he had terrible tyres, to be fair to Bottas in that situation. But anyway, what happened to McLaren? Where was their pace?
They had arguments as well. What was the Ricardo Norris swapperoo about as well?
I think he was just he was on younger tyres. He was always going to get past.
But then he for the last 12 laps did exactly the same lap speed as Norris. Ricardo was on the same lap speed as Norris, same lap times. I
hadn't seen. I know that Norris pulled away from him quite quickly.
There's a video going around.
Is there?
And of the radio, and that's what his engineer says to him. He goes, Ricardo asks as to what happened and where Lando finished, and like as to make it better, the engineer goes, "Oh, but you were lapping at the same time." It was like, "Yeah, so I could have been in 10th and got the point." He was like, and he
wouldn't have done that because Perez was flying. If he hadn't let Norris through, then Perez would have finished in Perez would have still finished where he finished, to be fair.
Yeah, precisely.
But Norris would have been behind 11th. Ricardo, and they would have. Well, to be fair, Norris would have had a better chance of staying ahead of Perez. It didn't actually gain the team anything in the end, but
we know he can't. He can't keep. Norris cannot. Norris is shite at defending. We've seen that so often. No, there's no about it. He is
towards the end of a race. If he's fighting for a position towards the end of the race, he will hold on. He will at least try and hold on. If you're talking 1/3 of the way through the race, then he's probably not going to fight for it if the car's that much quicker. But at the end of the race, he's going to hold on. And he was fighting tooth and nail. He had balls today. You see that? He absolutely hung Perez out to dry. They made contact twice in the same corner, and then Perez was lucky to come through without crashing out.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
that would have been Norris's fault.
Yeah, and he admits that as well.
Yeah, that would have been Norris's fault had that been an accident.
Left him enough room, sort of. Yeah,
kind of. Not really, but kind of. Yeah, no, it was close.
I wouldn't Perez on that corner though to then come round and nudge him along a little bit on that. You know,
I wouldn't have given anyone a penalty for that.
No,
but
it would have been a
if you had to blame somebody, then you'd say, well, perhaps Norris probably could have given him a little bit more space.
Yeah.
But I'm just a bit perplexed. I mean, I know they had an odd qualifying session because they got done by the red flags, but they again, if I'm going to say it about Perez, I've got to say it about Norris as well. He didn't put a lap time in the start of that session.
Yeah,
and they knew that there was. The only thing is this session was red flag affected, whereas Q1 wasn't. So that ruined the chance of putting that lap in. And Perez just didn't get round in time, so that was a bigger error, I think. But again, that's more down to the team than Perez. But yeah, it's still the same thing. You know, he didn't get into Q3. He didn't put in a lap time good enough before the red flag. So it is on him as well. I'm just a bit confused as to where that McLaren pace has gone. It's Ferrari, obviously. We'll find out in a bit that they've now taken that third in the championship. So it's going to be difficult for McLaren to fight back from that. And Norris has lost third place in the drivers finally. It's just whether he can stay ahead of Perez now, which he probably can't. But
do you not think he can?
No, I said from day one I thought he was fighting for fifth in the championship, which we'll get onto when we cover the standings. Yeah. I think we've kind of that's kind of the bulk amount of things we wanted to talk about in the race. Really, is there anything you wanted to add on to that? I mean, it's
no. I think that's pretty much it.
I did laugh at Alonso and Ocon when Ocon says, "Oh, I'm so much quicker than him." Then Alonso was like, "Hold my beer," and he pulled out an 8-second gap.
Yeah,
that was funny. I mean, the track as well. What did you think of the track? I mean, it's tough to overtake, but it was pretty stunning to watch, wasn't it?
I enjoyed the track. I'm not like offended by it at the moment. I think it's interesting. I mean, I love the little corners, the banking corners. I think that just adds an extra element. It looks quite fun. I
think there's
a bit more fun into the sport.
There's a big opportunity
quick track as well.
There's a big opportunity for incident, which is always exciting to watch. We didn't get any incidents this time round, but I'm pretty sure we will do in the future. We're going to be staying there for quite a few years, I think. I mean, as long as we've got number one, Well, as long as he's in a competitive car. If he's at the back of the grid, then I don't think there'll be the interest. But he's in a competitive car and he's winning races, so they're going to be there.
Yeah,
it was good to watch. It's a
crowd-pleasing space. It's interesting to watch.
Yeah, it was. I did enjoy it as a race, as an event. It was good to watch. But I think it's unless there's rain or incident, I think it's never really going to be a banger. That was a great race because of the fight up front, but there really wasn't that much action. It was just Perez in the faster car coming through, and Alonso a bit of magic at the end. There was hardly any actual on-track overtakes because it's just so difficult.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do. I think qualifying's more interesting there.
Yeah, and that's the same with Monaco, isn't it? Qualifying stunning in Monaco and in Imola as well. So, but that leaves now Max Verstappen back in control of the Drivers' Championship, 224.5 points, 3 points ahead of Lewis on 221.5. Bottas now up to third with 123, with Norris 114 and Perez 108. Charles Leclerc, 92, and an 89.5 for Carlos Sainz, with Gasly up to 8th with 66. Ricciardo now down to 9th with 56. Alonso in the top 10 with 46, just ahead of Ocon. That's your top 10. And now we've got another name on the list. Robert Kubica is 21st. Actually, he's worth talking about. Well done, Robert Kubica, I think.
Yeah, fair play on him.
He did good in qualifying to be ahead of the Hasses within sort of 3/4 of a second of his teammate, and on a track that is incredibly difficult to drive when he hasn't done a Grand Prix in 2 years and he is limited in his movement. He's completed a full race distance in a competitive manner. I think that's a well done, Robert Kubica. Well done.
No, fair play on him. Absolutely fair play on him. Right, should we do Driving Dick?
Yeah, I think so. Go on, then. Who do you want to nominate
for driver of the day? Probably go with Max. No one else is really.
Yeah.
Was it too exciting?
I think I agree. I think Alonso needs to get that honourable mention.
I don't think. Yeah, grand, but I don't think. I think he was great in the midfield, but I don't think he was driver of the day. I don't think there was anything.
No.
Super
Norris maximised his race, but he from his starting position, but he kind of put himself there in the first place. So I can kind of
I don't feel like he was amazing.
No,
on it, and he only maximised his position because he got made to swap with Ricciardo, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Hamilton had a good race, but he couldn't get the job done in the end.
No, and he was doing his usual whinging self. So
but I think that is just a narrative they decide to portray, because it seems like it's something that people like to latch onto. So when it happens, they're going to broadcast it. But I'm pretty sure that everyone moans.
Even we know that Verstappen moans like a whiny little something or other quite often, but that's not the issue. I just think Hamilton wasn't that great. he didn't get. He could have done better. He should have done better, and moaned and even and then tried to play the team game again with Bottas, and it just it almost fell through. So yeah, no, I don't quite like any of that really. There's nothing.
That's fine.
The midfield was pretty midfieldy. There's no because it's a race where you can't really overtake because you can't do anything apart from not crash. It's hard to pick a driver of the day because there isn't really one. I
think it is Max because Max.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did nothing special. But like normally, our driver of the days are someone that did something special and came up the field or something, which in theory would be Perez, but then it's not because of the aforementioned stuff that we've already said.
Yeah,
so why you haven't really got anywhere else to go. So you really have only got Max for doing fastest and cleanest.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that. What about Dick of the Day? F1 fans for voting Perez driver of the day. Laura for voting Perez driver of the day. Or what she said. Dick of the Day, McLaren and Mazepin.
Yeah, I was actually going to say McLaren.
I don't think McLaren. McLaren just did what was the best chance that they had to maximise their day, and it didn't work in the end. But
or James.
James. Who's James?
James.
Oh, James Vowles.
Yeah, James.
No, I think he's again trying to maximise the points for the team.
No, but he's not. It's not for the team. It's for Hamilton.
Well, for his driver, there's the only one who's really got a chance of winning the World Championship.
Yeah, it's
realistically,
but like 1 point wouldn't have made any difference at that point.
Yeah. Well, what if Verstappen wins the championship by a point and Bottas took that point away? They'd look pretty stupid then.
They're going to look stupid. They look stupid for even pulling in Verstappen pulling in Bottas too early. Why would you?
I don't know why I don't know why they even did that. I think they thought that.
No, they don't. No one knows why they did that.
I think they thought Bottas was going to be in Hamilton's way when he was going for the fastest lap, but I don't think he would have been.
Then why? Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Mazepin for his antics.
But like, it's just too boring to say Mazepin's a dick because.
Yeah, well, he is always a dick.
Yeah, but it's sometimes dicks become insignificant.
Dicks follow dicks.
Dicks follow dicks, and he's an insignificant dick. So I'm not too worried by him. Grant, he's done the usual. He'd never actually caused an accident. He was lucky, but he never actually.
Well, he caused damage to his teammate's car.
Yeah, well, that's that's by in some ways.
Go on then. Who are we going to give it to? Because no one really cares.
No, that's the problem. This race has proved that the driver and the dicks don't really make much difference because no one can do anything to become driver or dick.
Well, I'd just like to clarify that Formula One don't award a dick of the day. That is purely us.
I know, but like
I think they should though.
Can you imagine? I mean, everyone just keep voting Mazepin. It'd be too easy. There was no
Formula One.
Russell.
Why Russell?
Because he fucked up in qualifying.
Yeah, but that's not day. That's the previous day.
Yeah, but we've done stuff on the previous day before.
Yeah, I suppose.
We've done qualifying on the previous day, but he screwed that up, and he could have done better. But then, could he have done better? You saying that he would only ever get 11th anyway, so he would never go into Q3.
Probably not. No, he was going for it. That was his only chance. He had to go for it, and then he went into that turn quicker than Max Verstappen did, and he had half the downforce. That's why he crashed.
I don't know now. I don't really care.
Perez. Yeah, Perez. All right, let's go Perez. Done. Sorry, Laura.
Perez purely for taking out Lando almost, and Lando. Well, no, Lando could have then got. Oh, I don't know. I don't care either.
That's
like, to be honest,
it was all right.
Whoever wins Dick of the Day today is not going to be Dick of the Day of the season. So
yeah. So we've got Italy up next, which is next week, which
and neither of us are going to see.
Well, yeah, I should be able to watch the race. Well, I'll be able to watch the race in the evening.
I can't watch the race. I can't watch it.
Can you not?
I don't know how. I don't know how. I'll only be able to watch the highlights on Channel 4. I have because I haven't got Sky Q doesn't show it. live.
Are you still in? Are you still in England then, or are you back in Ireland on
I'm
Sunday?
in England.
Oh, because you're going to Legoland, aren't you?
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh
well,
no, I'm back on Sunday. No, I fly back on Sunday. That's it. I'm in
Oh,
Ireland.
Saturday you're at Legoland, so
No,
you can just
Saturday
watch.
I'm in
Yeah,
Legoland.
you can just watch it here. No, Saturday.
I fly back I land at 2:45. So I'll lose the first 45 minutes. So,
Oh, okay.
so I think I'll end up watching Channel 4 highlights.
I'll be
try.
watching it in the evening again because I've got another rehearsal.
Yeah, I love that you've got to have a rehearsal the day after your wedding. 2
no,
days.
it's 2 days after my wedding.
Well, you're not doing anything on Saturday, are you?
No, we'll be like basking in our matrimony,
Nice.
whatever that means.
Nice.
Yeah, I know she won't listen to this podcast, but I'm going to carry her across the threshold of the house, which she doesn't know about yet. So that's even though she's lived here for 2 years, but
Yeah.
well, that's fine.
You got to chase her up the driveway first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Italy coming up next week, and then after that it's the Russian Grand Prix, supposedly the Turkish Grand Prix, the United States Grand Prix, Mexican Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix, the to be confirmed Grand Prix. Then we've got Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi to close out the season.
Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia.
TBC is going to be Qatar, clearly,
Grand
but
Prix.
they just can't announce it yet. So that's kind of what we got coming up. Italy, I'm gonna have to watch late, but hopefully should be able to get a podcast together because I should be allowed back on my computer by sort of Monday, Tuesday time. So we should be able to get a podcast out to you next week sometime.
Are you available in evenings again? I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, I should be. I'll still have rehearsals Mondays and Thursdays, but
So
I'll
Tuesday evening.
but not next week's the last week, and then we've got the show the week after that. So from the next Grand Prix after that,
Dublin next week.
way excellent. So we'll just have a quick check up on the junior series because we had Formula 3 in Zandvoort. Full disclosure, I was not able to watch all of the races, but I have the results here. I watched the first race, which Arthur Leclerc won. Logan Sargent got a good second place, and it was Iwasa came in on third. Top three in the second race was Victor Martins, Clement Novalak, and Freddie Vesti. Did not watch it. Don't know what happened. And then the third one was Dennis Hauger, Clement Novalak, and Alex Smollier were the top three in that race. So standings, Hauger had a really bad Spa and he needed to bounce back. He had an average race one, didn't score in race two, but feature race, he not only won, but he got pole position. So that's 31 points for him there, and then 4 for race one. So a 35-point weekend has put him back in the driving seat ahead of Jack Doohan. He's on 193 points. Doohan on 150 with only a 17-point haul for the week. Clement Novalak had a decent week, scoring 30 points. So he's back in the fight, but still is 71 points back. So it looks like it's still between Doohan and Hauger, and with just one event left, it's pretty much, it's Doohan or Hauger, to be honest, but it looks like it's going to be Hauger. So congratulations, Hauger, on winning the Formula 3 championship. Pretty much guaranteed. Just needs to have an average weekend in Sochi to do it. The Zandvoort...
they finish really early now, don't they?
Yeah, they're done in Russia. And then we've got the W Series. We're also in Zandvoort. Again, I haven't had a chance to watch it, unfortunately, but Alice Powell...
I know Chadwick came third.
No, she came second. Alice Powell won and Chadwick second. Those two were just dominating the series, with Emma Kimmerlein third. Again, it's just those three really just seem to be dominating the podiums. That means that it's Chadwick on 91 points. Powell's closed in to 7 points off on 84, and Emma Kimmerlein is on 60 points. So a couple of wins, and Kimmerlein could be in with the fight.
But... We should get Ian back on.
Yes, we need to. Yep, I was going to email him about this week, but I just haven't had time. So we'll get him back on probably for maybe next week or something. But just 2 races to go for W Series. You've got Brazil and Mexico. Hopefully they happen. But it's going to be it's a really tight fight.
It's really interesting. It's on Channel 4.
I love it on Channel 4. Well, it's Whisper Entertainments, isn't it? Which David Coulthard runs, and he's co-founder of W Series. So they get the rights to it. But
he also did the Olympics. But they've got Billy Munger. So they've got Billy Monger
Yeah.
as one of the commentators. It was brilliant. I really want to
Yeah.
get Billy Monger on this. I'd
He also-
fanboy slightly. I know his mum.
He does commentate on F2 as well sometimes. Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know his mum and from the film world. She's a makeup
Excellent.
artist.
Yeah. Get him on.
But I don't know her that well, unfortunately.
Get on.
I've
Well,
worked with a few.
try it in the close season or something
Yeah.
when he's not busy and we're
Oh.
not busy.
Be amazing.
It would be.
I'd
That would be
go a
cool.
bit
To be fair.
fangy. I'd go a bit fangirly on him.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. I think that's us, isn't it?
I think so.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
I'm back in Dublin. You're
Woo.
back in. Where are you? You're back home.
I'm
no,
back home.
No wedding, so you've got half the worries, but we've still got
Yeah.
the show to go.
Still got the show to get through. Then after that, I've back to real life. So yeah.
Back to life, back to reality.
And
Anyway.
on that terribly out of tune note, we're going to say goodnight.